the one who had the most experience with the vipers that infested this keep. She'd know what to do. "If you don't want to tell me what's happening, at least tell me how I can help," Rosalind said through labored breaths. Akeylah paused halfway up the ash tower steps to consider. "Can you go to Zofi's chambers and fetch her? Ask her to meet me in Wren's rooms. We need to talk." Rosalind climbed close enough to reach for Akeylah's hand, and Akeylah caught the Queen's, with only the barest glance at the empty stairwell around them. Rosalind squeezed her fingertips gently. "Are you certain you're all right?" the Queen asked, voice pitched low. "One moment you are on the floor convulsing, the next you're sprinting out of the library, yelling that you need to find your sisters. I'm worried about you, Akeylah. You won't tell me what's going on." Roz's gaze bored into hers, a gaze that would be so easy, so simple to get lost in. Akeylah's heart wilted. She moved down a stair, onto the same step as Rosalind. With the Queen in heels, she stood a few inches taller than Akeylah. But it was Rosalind who seemed smaller now, shrunken with worry. Akeylah cupped her cheek, leaned in to press a single lingering kiss to her mouth. "I promise I'll explain everything soon," she whispered. Then, conscious of the open halls around them, she disentangled her hand from Rosalind's. Akeylah resumed her climb, hurrying toward Wren's rooms. It wasn't until she reached the top step and turned down a side corridor that she heard the answering clack of Rosalind's heels beginning to descend the stairs in the other direction. Unease churned in her stomach. She wanted to reassure the Queen that everything would be all right. But how could she say that when she didn't believe it herself? "Understand what I do to my enemies. You're one of them now." The blackmailer had sounded different this time. Angry enough to kill, perhaps the same way they'd felt when they murdered Yasmin. She drew up outside of Florencia's door and banged on it. "Wren!" She pressed an ear to the wood, listened for sounds of life inside. She heard a rustling, a soft inhalation like a gasp. Worried, Akeylah grasped the doorknob. It turned easily in her hand, and she threw the door open, just as a figure sat straight up in bed, hair a mess. For a split second, Akeylah thought it was Wren. Her hair was the same color, and she had that oh-so-Kolonyan regal nose. But then Akeylah noticed this girl's wider face, higher brow, wider-set eyes. Not to mention her clothes, the kind of gowns serving maids wore. Akeylah's face flushed. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt." The girl, for her part, looked even more horrified and embarrassed than Akeylah. She flung herself out of the bed, straightening her gown, grabbing the covers. "No, I'm sorry, my lady. I wasn't—" Between her bleary eyes and the bags underneath, not to mention the mussed bed she was now hurriedly remaking, Akeylah could guess what the maid had been doing. It must be exhausting to serve ladies in this keep. She'd need to sneak in rest where she could. "It's all right, really." Akeylah spread her hands, palms up, to put the girl at ease. "I was just looking for my sister, Florencia." The girl's hands stilled. "Wren?" The use of the nickname stirred Akeylah's memory. Of course. Wren had served downstairs, must have friends among the maids. Meanwhile, the girl's gaze darted past Akeylah toward the windows. The sun outside cast a long shadow across Wren's hardwood floor. "She told me I could rest here while she went to the baths. I must have dozed off, but she ought to be back soon. That was only half an hour ago at most." "Where are the baths?" Akeylah asked, tone sharper than she intended. The girl tilted her head, considered Akeylah for a moment. "I'll walk you down there," she said finally. "It's a bit tricky to find on the first go." They strolled out of the chamber together. After a moment's silence, the girl spoke up again. I'd appreciate it if you didn't mention to anyone about me lying down on